still tuned in to Salam Media. We're about 1 minute before the top of the hour. And our next interview is a very, very interesting one. We'll be joined shortly by UJ Institute for Pan-African Thought and Conversation, Dr. Chido Nyere. And we'll be chatting briefly about Turkey and its surprising move to align itself with the BRICS BRICS host of nations, and they'll be part of a host of other countries that have joined the BRICS recently, which include Ethiopia, Iran, Egypt, and the United Arab Emirates. Dr. Nyere, thank you so much for joining us, and welcome to Salam Media.
Thank you, Sulailo. Good morning to you, and good morning to our audience.
First and foremost, BRICS, it's growing. There seemingly to be interest from all the different, nations across the world. The latest one, obviously, being Turkey. What is so attractive, for all of these nations across the world to want to be part of BRICS? What's so amazing about it, and why would they want to align themselves with the proverbial, West, not the West, but the South block of things? Why BRICS and why Turkey?
So BRICS is a very interesting phenomenon. We first heard the word BRIC in 2001, right? And it was BRIC, not BRICS with S for South Africa. Mm-hmm. South Africa only joined in 2010. But it's fascinating that BRICS is growing in terms of popularity. And we should be then be asking, why is that so? If we look at the objectives of BRICS, this is where we get our answer. So BRICS started off almost as, it is actually an informal club. Maybe I should state that. It is an informal club, and I say informal as opposed to an official multilateral platform such as the United Nations, right? Mm-hmm. So BRICS started off as an informal club, but of course it's attracting a lot of traction and it's attracting a lot of countries. The reason why many countries have expressed the desire to join BRICS is because BRICS stand antithetical to the current global financial architecture. Because this is where the problem is. The current global financial architecture, which has at the center of it the United States and the United States dollar, right? So this is where the issue is. When we look at global financial structures and trade, the US dollar is at the apex and is at the center of all transactions. And this, of course, advantages the US dollar over any other currency. And this is problematic because then it gives the US unlimited power and unlimited influence. So this is where the issue is in terms of BRICS. BRICS nations came together to form an informal multilateral club, but the idea is to de-link from the global financial architecture. Now, the announcement by Turkey, and I should be very careful how I say this, Turkey has not formally announced that it is joining BRICS, or maybe I should be speaking about BRICS Plus now, because it was BRIC, and in 2010 it became BRICS, but we know from last year at the summit, countries such as Ethiopia, as you mentioned, the United Arab Emirates, they've joined BRICS. So it's proper to speak of BRICS now as BRICS Plus. But what is particularly interesting about Turkey is that while it has not made a formal application to join BRICS, clearly we can see from what has been happening that there are plans to join, to officially join. So I know on Monday, the 4th of June, the Turkish Prime Minister, Hakan Fidan, had visited China. And it was actually at the sidelines of those meetings that he was quizzed to see whether Turkey is willing to join or not. And his response was, of course, they are willing to join. Why would they not? Right? So media took that, of course, to say this is a clear indication that Turkey is going to join, because this is a foreign minister, right? It is actually in his domain and in his power to make such announcements. But this was not an announcement, it was just a response. So we can gather from that that Turkey is going to apply formally, because we also know that Turkey has already indicated that it will be joining the BRICS summit, which will be held this year in Russia. It will be attending. So we can deduce from that that there is a process. Of course, the formalities are yet to be tabled, and the BRICS Plus countries will have to look at that proposal and see whether or not it aligns. But from the look of things, Russia, of course, welcomes Turkey's reported desire to join BRICS Plus. But maybe what we also need to look at is the very fact that Turkey, in this case, Turkey comes with a lot of controversy, because Turkey is currently a member state of NATO. And we know with the NATO alliance, they are really the vanguards of Western modernity. They are the vanguards of the financial global architecture as we know it today, because part of it is that the USA itself is an influential member state of NATO. And this is where the issue is. Turkey, we know it has always been accused of aligning itself or getting itself close to Russia. And we know Russia is antithetical to the NATO stance. In fact, the war today that is still going on between Russia and
Ukraine, yeah.
Ukraine, yes, sorry. The current war between Russia and Ukraine is actually over the turf that Ukraine wanted to join NATO, and the expansion of NATO is problematic to Russia. And this is where now the controversy is coming from, to say Russia is welcoming Turkey to join, yet Turkey is a member state of NATO. And of course, there will be concerns from other BRICS Plus nations, but those are issues that will be tabled and discussed as they arise.
What does this do for the relations between Turkey, NATO members, led by the US, of course? This desire, would it have any kind of implication on their relationship with those Western countries? Because we've seen with South Africa, when our relations with China and Russia started to be very, very cordial and warm, there seemed to be some resistance from the US. There were threats of pulling out of some deals, including AGOA. Things just started. I mean, the American ambassador to South Africa even said, South Africa is sending out arms on large ships to support Russia in their war against Ukraine. Just all kinds of absurd accusations, and our relationship with the US seemingly, deteriorating. Is it possible that we might see the same thing happen with Turkey and their relationship with the West?
Oh, yes. So already the relationship between Turkey and the USA is tense, particularly over this move. Maybe what we should realize is the fact that wherever the USA is involved, right, the USA thinks of itself and it postures itself as a unipolar power. And in that unipolar system, it is at the apex. So the US, unfortunately, thrives with controlling other states, right? So control is a very big thing for them. That's why you will find the US will have military bases almost everywhere, right? And you want to ask yourself, why is that so? The USA thrives with control. So we call that coloniality. And it's coloniality of power that the US thrives with. So unfortunately, because in that structure, there is no alternative. It's either their way or the highway. And most of the US allies have come to see that sometimes you will need to make decisions that are only favorable to your polity. And Turkey has already indicated, we know from the media, we know that Turkey has been sidelined. Turkey has been accused of aligning itself to Russia. And clearly, this will have consequences for Turkey. So if you realize, Turkey is not actually confirmed that it's joining the BRICS Plus alliance. It has not confirmed. And it has been accused of defecting from the NATO alliance. And of course, its response has always been to deny that it's defecting from the NATO alliance so that it keeps all these partners happy. But unfortunately, it will have to come a time where Turkey will have to make a decision to join formally the BRICS Plus nations. And of course, we know that it will come with problems. But those problems will have to be dealt by Turkey as and when they arise. We know for a fact that the USA thrives with controlling other states. So joining the BRICS Plus nations will put unnecessary strain for the US. But here, the idea is not to please the US. The idea is for Turkey to do what is right for itself and for its citizens and for its own longevity, because at the center of what BRICS is trying to do, BRICS is there to provide a multilateral platform where each member state is equal. Now, if you look at the current global political structure, which has the UN at the center, that structure is not democratic. That structure is not equal. That structure is asymmetrical. You think of the United Nations Security Council, where you have 5 permanent members with veto power. And those are the real powers of the world. Because if any other country wants to push an agenda and it really doesn't have the backing of these permanent 5, it becomes a problem. The agenda becomes frustrated. So it's a unipolar system, and the permanent 5 countries are all Western, right? They are all Western in orientation. Therefore, it begs the question to say, why would we want to always be going to a system that we know it will not work for us? To do so is frivolous. Now, BRICS comes here and says every member is equal in stature, right? And it has equal access to the system that BRICS Plus is developing. Of course, that is favorable. And this will remain an edge over any other multilateral system that we have, because at this stage, we only have BRICS, which really aligns well with the global south particularly. We know there is Russia there, we know there is China there, but by and large, the membership that has, or rather, the countries that have expressed a desire to join, they align with the global south agenda. And this is where it has an edge over it, and therefore will be a good place for Turkey to come in.
And touching on Turkey again, I think for me, what strikes me, with Turkey, or Turkey, as they prefer to be called right now, is how there's seemingly a confused country when it comes to their ideology and where they would like to lean. I mean, they're still seeking full European Union membership. They want to be recognized by that bloc and become a part of that bloc. But again, in a lot of instances, you did mention that they've come under fire a lot of times because of their warm relations with China and Russia, and now again expressing the possible desire to join the BRICS Plus. Don't you think there's that element, not really understanding and knowing, which side of the coin they fall into, especially looking at where they are placed, geographically? It's also, a really confusing place. Are they in Europe? Are they in Middle East? Are the Turkish confused? Do they know, which ideology and which countries they should be aligning themselves with going forward and looking into the future? And as many say, the new world order comes into order, so to say.
I beg to differ that Turkey is confused. I know it may come across as confused, but I think my reading into the situation is that Turkey is tactful
Hmm.
because it's exposing the real problem. The real problem is exactly that one cannot be a part of this structure and be a part of another structure. And this is the problem of control. This is exactly the issue that suffocates states within this unipolar system. What Turkey is actually exposing is the fact that it is desirable for states to have a multipolar system in the world. Maybe that this is exactly what is being expressed by Turkey and by most of these countries that have joined the BRICS Plus consortium.
Mm.
Because we cannot have a scenario where you are either in this category or in that category. Why not be in all categories, right? Because what it tells us, therefore, is that human beings are classified, and human beings are classified, and there's a hierarchy, and it is that hierarchy that is problematic because the hierarchy, maybe I should spell it out, the hierarchy always has the Caucasian and white race at the apex, and
Mm.
it has the melanated and black people at the base. And that is problematic. It cannot continue to happen that way. This is why racism is still much alive. Sometimes, maybe not explicitly, but it's always implied in all these relations because the groupings already indicate that divide. Why should there be that divide? Aren't we all human beings? Doesn't the unilateral Declaration of Human Rights say that we are all equal under law? And if we are all equal, and it then says we are all equal as human beings, why should we have these divides that put blocks on how people and how states should interact with each other? I think Turkey, in this case, is exposing the very problematic nature of having this unipolar system where the US has to always be in control and police everyone else.
Mm.
Maybe
Mm.
it's expressing that we are tired of being policed and being beat into a place and we have to toe the line.
Mm.
Life of states has to be explored elsewhere. So I think Turkey, in terms of its geopolitical positioning, it's actually to its advantage because it can have that room to choose whether it wants to be in the Middle East, whether it wants to be in the European Union. Why not join all these um, clubs or these multilateral platforms if it's going to benefit Turkey? So already it tells us that the groupings, according to this unipolar system, they are not meant to benefit countries. They are
Mm.
meant to control and benefit only the select few that are at the apex. Because if they are meant to benefit countries and they are meant to develop the countries' populations, it means that countries are free to choose which alliance they go into. It shouldn't be policed by one alliance over another one.
All
I
right.
think it should be open in that sense.
All right. No, I think we're going to leave it there. We have run out of time. Really, really interesting insights there, Dr. Nyere. Thoroughly enjoyed the conversation. And I'm sure as the story unfolds, we'll be catching up with you soon. Thank you so much. Going to leave it here for now.
Thank you so much for your time.
Well, there you have it there. UJ Institute for Pan-African Thought and Conversation, Dr. Chido Nyere, just giving us insight on Turkey's surprising alliance move and expressing that desire to join the BRICS Plus consortium of nations. Yeah, really interesting. We're seeing a lot of interest from various countries all across the world to join the BRICS Plus consortium and be part of BRICS, Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa. We now even have new entries like Egypt, the United Arab Emirates, and also Ethiopia, who have recently joined to make the grouping BRICS Plus and no longer BRICS. But I think if we did have time, I was going to ask Dr. Nyere there about, idealistically, BRICS seems like a really, really, great concept. But when will we start having, realistic impact of the consortium on the ground. A lot of these BRICS summits have been held, a lot has been promised, a lot has been signed on paper by the various countries involved. But when will the actual people of these countries that make up the BRICS consortium start reaping the rewards of being part of this economic bloc? I think this is one story to look into as it progresses and as we throw forward to this year's BRICS summit, which will be held in Russia. Really, really interesting times that we live in. But yeah, I think just tune into Salam Media as we'll be giving you more insights and updates as they unfold. We're going to be wrapping it up for now. Really, really enjoyed today's show. I appreciate you for being, for joining us for the past 2 hours and a bit more on the side. It's been really, really a pleasure. We'll be leaving it here for now. I'll be with you again tomorrow morning from 8 right until 10 on the Friday edition of News and Views. And it's goodbye for now.